I can't thank him enough for the stuff that he's done for me and things I've learned.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to invite Nicole.
Definitely a tough following. I'm not nearly as funny as Dan's family. Being Dan's family, that you guys would all be very funny. But I went around our office and I asked everybody to give me 1 or 2 words that best describes our Dan, and I'm just gonna read those. Witty, dedicated, charismatic, hardworking, kind, mentor, wise, and caring. These are just some of the characteristics that our team at CMS best describe Dan as. I've had the pleasure of knowing Dan since I was about 5 years old. He was one of the first employees to work at our company called King in 1985 alongside my mom. My mom would be getting ready for the midnight shift, and I would hang on to her leg and beg her to take me to work with her. Now, I don't know why, because I would never do that nowadays. Some days she would give in and take me with her. This is when I got to meet Dan the man. I would sit on a little couch in the monitoring center and listen to her and Dan plug away at alarms on those terrible old green screen bright monitors. Fast forward to current day, I had the pleasure of working with Dan on the same team for the same company after all these years. It was always nice to look back and discuss that history with him. He had history about my mom that I never knew about too, so we would sit and chat and laugh and talk about things like that. Dan was always so dedicated to his work over the past 35 years. He had so much passion for the job he did and never skipped a beat when asking if he could stay past shift when needed. His passing has left a huge void on our work family, and we will continue to keep his memory alive by telling stories and repeating his witty one-liners. We all have a Dan story, and we've all been sharing them over the past weeks. We will keep his desk open and his blue jacket hanging on the back of the chair because no one will ever be able to fill his shoes. Dan, if you are listening to us today, we hope you feel the overwhelming amount of love we all have for you. You are a legend, and in the words of you, today is a good day because we are celebrating your life and we know that you are at peace.
Thank you. Yes, please. Dan's good friend Tony is speaking now.
Using the letters in the word friend, I would like to give a few traits that I feel describe Dan. I'm sure everyone in the room could take the same 6 letters and come up with some wonderful attributes of this kind and humble man. F, funny. He had the ability to crack a joke, as he always told me, Tony, you too can be funny. That's all in the delivery. And everyone in here that knows me knows I can't tell a joke to save my life. R, reliable. If Dan told you he was going to do something, he would follow it through to its completion. When Dan couldn't drive, I would call him and say, hey Dan, I'll be over there to get you at such and such a time. I'd come down and there's Dan with his Met hat and his jacket on. Well, what took you so long? Dan was there, he was on point. I, intelligent. Dan was very smart, but he was a very humble man, as his family and friends know. He never flaunted his wisdom in front of anyone. E, empathetic. Dan was a kind soul and had the capability of understanding and identifying with the feelings of all. This is one I really liked him, non-judgmental. I've never heard Dan talk badly of anyone for having an opinion different than his own. He always told me, Tony, teach his own. I mean, come on, I'm a Met fan, he would say. You're a Yankee fan, not judging. So F-R-I-E-N-D, all equals Dan. My sincerest condolences to Dan's family, and we as co-workers and friends, thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to celebrate with you the life of your blood brother. Dan, Daniel, Danny, Mr. McGrath, Dano, whatever people may have called you, my favorite name for you was friend. I have to say, I really can't recall the first time that I met you, other than it was sometime back in 2002 when I was assigned to work in our Hackensack office. We didn't have much interaction back then, but I remember seeing you guide your employees in their towards accomplishing their mission. I thought to myself, wow, that guy knows his way around the central station and has a wealth of industry knowledge. Once I was assigned back to Manasquan, my interactions with Dan became pretty much non-existent, other than an occasional phone call to review a central station matter. I'm not quite sure what year we closed the Hackensack office, but I remember Dan was commuting every day back and forth from the Parsippany Lake Hiawatha area. And you could see it was taking its toll on him. He'd put his little Met hat on, start walking out to his he had a red car at the time, I think. And I said, hey, why don't you consider moving closer to Manasquan? It would be a closer commute, no road rage, cheaper on gas, no tolls, etc. At that point, Dan told me he was taking care of your mother. And that was his first priority. The commute be damned, his first priority is taking care of your mom. One day out of nowhere, Dan says, hey, you have any recommendations on where I can move to the Monmouth County area? I told him that my wife Melissa and I lived in a very quiet apartment complex about 15 minutes away from work. Dan came down, toured the apartment complex, signed the lease, and the rest was history for him. I think Matt was the one that helped him move down. Yep. And the rest was history. He became a resident of the Jersey Shore. Not knowing anyone outside of work in the local area, Melissa and I took him on a guided tour, showing him the location of the boardwalk, the banks, the gas stations, grocery stores, the mall, and of course, anyone that knows Dan, his beloved dollar store. The man was thrifty. He was thrifty. I said, hey Dan, you can go to BJ's and get a case of water for like $4 and it's like 48 bottles. No, I'll go to the dollar store, pay $1 and get a jug. We would invite him over to the apartment for dinner, to watch a baseball game, or watch the Super Bowl. My friend, I remember you rolling your eyes every time a Super Bowl commercial would come on. You hated each and every one of them. I really can't, I'm not a good imitator, but Dan would say, those are the most asinine things ever made. He said, they're stupid. I said, Dan, the marketing people are supposed to stick in your head. It's not supposed to be, Academy Awarded. And he goes, it's still asinine. My friend, I really wish we could go to one more Lakewood Blue Claws baseball game because I know you really, really enjoy it. He would actually go and hang out with my father-in-law, Pete, and they would eat hot dogs, popcorn, all the things that neither one were supposed to eat. A few years ago, my wife and I bought our home and wanted to host Thanksgiving for our entire extended family. I remember approaching you, asking you if you had plans for the holidays, and you told me you were going to spend it with your family. Then on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, Dan shuffles down the hallway and pops his head in and says, hey, does that Thanksgiving invitation still stand? Because I think we're supposed to have bad weather tomorrow. I told you that that a standing offer for any holiday you could not make it to be with your family. I'll tell you, Dan, this Thanksgiving is going to be especially difficult for us. We'll not be able to hear your noisy blue van pull up in front of the house and bottom out when you try and drive into the driveway. We won't hear your loud laugh echoing throughout the house. Again, it was a bad invitation, but you guys get the gist on that one. It will also take some time getting used to not seeing you at the table, sitting with our family. Dan, I'm truly going to miss our frequent conversations that ran the gamut, from sports to politics to trivia. You definitely gave me a run for my money when it came to trivia, and I thank you for that, my friend. I'll also miss talking to you and our colleague Cynthia about music. You certainly loved your Four Tops. But you were also quick to point out when I confused songs from back in the day. Tony, how are you going to confuse a Four Top song with the Platters? Really? Really? Thank you for reigniting the love that I had for movies from the classic era. From Bogart to Stewart to Brando, etc. Dan actually, he brought over a movie called The Longest Day. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a war movie. And I said, I've never seen it. And he goes, what? You've never seen The Longest Day? What are you, a communist? Dan, he had the wit, and he could tell a joke, and he could make you laugh at yourself and not realize that you were laughing at yourself. While I was aware that you liked to play chess, I never knew that you were such an accomplished master of the game as now I know. I'm glad that we never played. Because I too am very competitive. Because you would have made light work of me. Though I wish we had played, as I'm sure you would have made me a better player. I distinctly remember the very last time that I had the chance to see you in your earthly form. It was Wednesday, September 25th, around 8:30 p.m. Melissa and I were getting ready to leave your room at the University of Penn Hospital. I held your hand, told you that we loved you, and I hope to see you again real soon. You smiled at me, blinking your eyes several times as if you were trying to tell me something. Then a day and a half later, we received a call that no one was truly ready to receive. I guess God decided to call you home. I'm not sure if God was tired of beating Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky and he needed to competition in heaven. When the time is right, I have no doubt that we'll see each other again, my good friend. Dan, you've fought a good fight for so long, but your struggles are over, and hope that your soul is at peace. Go be with God and your beloved family and friends that have gone before you. One last thing, we all decided to get him a memory box with the team, the hats from his 4 favorite teams, 2 pictures from work, some state quarters, his lanyard from work for his badge, his 35-year anniversary pin, and a pin that says CMS Hero, and this. This is an inside joke between Dan and I. Our old company named Protection One used to give everyone a metal Christmas ornament. And Dan would say, "What the hell is this? What the hell am I going to do with this?" He goes, but he held on to it. I kept mine as well. I don't know what Dan did with his, but I said, you know what? Dan, you're going to have this for all of eternity. So, basically, I know he's been cremated, so if the family's going to keep the remains with them, please keep the box with Dan. And if you decide to intern his remains, please intern the box with him, as those are things that his friends would like to have for all eternity. And on the box it says, the saying on Dan's memory box is, embrace the journey. I'd like to think that along the way, that we've all enjoyed and embraced the journey that we have with our friend Dan. Rest easy, my friend. You'll be missed.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much. God bless you. If anyone else would like to say anything, please feel free at this point to come up. Okay. And I would ask Cynthia to lead us in closing prayer.
God of life, listen to the prayers we place before you. Look with love and compassion on who we mourn, and pray for Daniel McGrath. Do not let any of us be parted from your presence, but by your glorious power and love, give us all light, joy, and peace in heaven, where you live forever. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone. This has been overwhelming. The support that you've given us, the love that Dan had for you, and so obviously you had for Dan. You've really honored him here. Thank you.
Wish I had known the man. Sure, like you said, a true friend in many ways, in every way. It means a lot. So as you take this, keep this spirit alive, keep it going.